5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How's it going, everyone? This is Frank Cavone, and we are live from the office. Thank you for tuning into the second episode of Kinda Live, Kinda Living from the office. I'm here today with a dear friend and just great colleague, Keith Morales. How you doing, man?
Great to see you, buddy.
It's great to see you too, dude.
Seen you for the past couple of months now. We've been doing some awesome things, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I just being part of the Palace Theater and working together with Albany events has been honestly what has gotten me through all of just this COVID. I love the Palace Theater. Always loved going there for concerts. After breaking into shooting concert photography, I just, it's just that place holds a near and dear to me, and being involved and included with you guys and working with the awesome team that is there. You, Sean Allen, Ryan Murray, Danny Taylor, Bill Blasco, list goes on. There's just a lot of awesome people involved with the Palace Theater, and the whole reason why the Palace sessions are happening is to raise money for the Palace, because right now times are tough. You can't have live music right in the venue, but we're trying to make it easier and enjoyable for those that who love the Palace and love live music. So Keith, before we could really get into the nitty gritty, how did the Palace sessions come about?
Sure. So, as you said, we work for the Office of Cultural Affairs, Albany events, and basically during COVID, we're scrambling to find things to do. Obviously, Tula Fest, Live at 5 was all canceled. So we have our meetings where we're throwing around ideas, and we're like, what can we do? One, to stay relevant, one, to bring the local artists something to do, the local venues where everyone's struggling. And throughout the idea of how about having a live stream concert at a venue with nobody there, obviously, of course, and stream it live or pre-record it on the internet, and in the process raise money. And the first one we thought of was the Palace, like you said, because the Palace is like an institution everyone knows. Think of Albany, think of the Palace. I've seen so many great shows there. Even right before COVID, I saw one of my favorite shows of all time, which is Twiddle, While They Dramatic, on Valentine's Day. That was amazing. So immediately I'm like, had that in my head as well. Like, the Palace is so great. And we had to work with them on that. I thought that was the first choice, and we did, and then it happened. So then we had a meeting with them. Literally, this happened within like 20 minutes. We all sat down with Billy and Sean and Danny, Ryan, and they loved the idea. They were all like, we're going, let's do this. And it was just from one little idea, and then after that 30-minute conversation, we had this huge plan, and we're like, we got to bring in Mirth Films. And I've always been a fan of Mirth Films from the outside, but never met you. Heard so many things about you. Everyone talks about you. I see you everywhere. And then obviously you were the first one everyone thought of, and there it was. We immediately reached out to you, and we were in. And from there, magic happened, I feel like, because those, like you said, giving you life, like this quarantine, this is giving me life, doing this for the good cause of raising the money, but also to give us something to do and listen to music, meeting you, working with you, and everyone at the Palace. They're amazing. So this was awesome.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Just like for the two reasons you brought up, just getting back to work and doing something positive for the community is it's great, because it's we do have a nice tight knit music community here. There's a lot of amazing venues, and one of the most historic ones is the Palace Theater, and it's just cool to see that people are interested, giving positive feedback, are excited every month to see a new episode of the Palace Sessions. And now, just so people know a little bit of your background, what exactly do you do at Albany events? And just correct me if I'm wrong. Is it City of Albany events or Albany events?
So it's funny. Our technical office term is the Office of Cultural Affairs, but we used to be Albany events. So like our Facebook says Albany events. Most of our social media says Albany events, because everyone knows when you hear Albany events, they know of us. But our technical term for the office is the Office of Cultural Affairs. We're responsible for the Tula Festival, Live at 5 Jazz Festival, Dad Fest, Last Run 5K, and a lot of events through the City Hall. All free events for the community. And how I started. I used to do shows at SUNY Albany. I went to SUNY Albany years ago, and I was working for the Student Association. And that's, basically the group that runs all the student groups, all the student events. So like we were running concerts through SUNY Albany, and my first taste of it, just as like an intern or like getting school credit for it, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And I always was like into concerts and sporting events, like watching how it works. Not only just the music or the sports, like how everything works, whether it's the vendors to the backstage, everything about it. And from there, I got the first taste of it, and I was like, I have to do this, like, for the rest of my life, I feel like. So then I left school, went home, worked actually as a correctional officer for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, in New York City, because just to get a job, it was like they were paying good money. You got to pay the bills, getting benefits.
Yeah.
And I was not very happy, obviously, because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. So I just branched off of that and started my own event planning company where we were doing concerts, and that's how I kind of really got going in New York City and in the Bronx. Came back here and got a job here when it was opened, and the rest is history, basically. About 2 years ago almost, I started working with them.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And just some of the event names that you just brought up: Tulip Festival, Jazz Festival, Tulip Festival, Jazz Festival, Lark. Lark Fest that's not you guys, but Alive at 5.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, no,
and I mean, Alive at 5. For those who are from the outside of the city of Albany, Alive at 5 is a concert series that happens almost every single week throughout the summer, and brings in some of the biggest acts to play the stage for free. I mean, what does it take to have what does it take to get that all together? Because that's not something that just happens overnight. I'm sure there's so much planning involved that it's like, okay, in order to get a band like Naughty by Nature, or a group like Naughty by Nature, you know, it's got to take some, you know, back and forth. What do you do? What do you have? What are some of your roles involved with getting that and making that happen?
Sure. So, for example, like Tulip Fest Live at 5, we're talking about this. Like right now, obviously with COVID aside, we'd be in the middle of planning already. So we'd be talking about Tulip Festival now. My role as a logistics coordinator, special events coordinator, is obviously planning things like the whole logistics of the event, stages, road closures, security, every aspect of the event itself, but also I do some booking. So I'm in charge of booking the artists. And in that range, you have to start talking to them now because they're planning their whole American tour or national tour, you know, regional tours everywhere all over the United States. So you want to get them now. So you start reaching out now and you're like, are you in New York at any point in this section? Because we do this from June to August. Hopefully you get a good artist that's around that area, or they're local enough where they can fly over or they can bus over. So yeah, it takes months in advance just to plan it and then you have to rotate from, you don't want to have 2 hip hop shows in a row, 2 rock shows in a row, 2 country shows in a row. You want to mix it up. So you kind of got to balance and play around with the scheduling a lot. And sometimes it's easy and a lot of times it's not, but it's fun. I like it.
I think everybody thinks you guys do a hell of a job in putting it together and bringing up the whole diversity of music factor. I mean, I have been exposed to music by going to Alive at 5 that I necessarily didn't listen to before. And even just some of the opening acts. One of them that I just thought so highly of was DJ TGIF, which, correct me if I'm wrong, he's local, right?
Oh yeah, he's local, but
he's got a pretty big following.
He's a big following, so he's not, he's local, but people know him all the way down in Boston and all over the East Coast because he's such a talented DJ. That's a buddy of mine, Craig, and he's a great person, first of all, but his skills, if anything, not enough people know of him, and he's getting there to a point where everyone's going to know who he is. And he took that crowd. Some might say he was even more popular than Slick Rick. I mean, Slick Rick killed it, obviously, but he took that crowd and warmed them up for him. A legend, obviously. Slick Rick, everyone knows who he is. And he took that crowd over, and he killed it. And that was one of my favorite parts of last year, was watching him for that 45 minutes, an hour. Because I was running around, but he played for more than that because he jumped on with Desmatic, who was an opener, and they didn't have a DJ at the moment. And,
right, that's
right.
right.
He just jumped in on the whim and was like, "I'll help you guys out." Boom, did that. Then he's like, "I don't even need to get off the stage because we have some breaks." He's like, "I'll just play right through it." So it turned into supposed to be a 45-minute set, turned into over an hour and a half easily, and without even blinking an eye, and he just killed it. So.
He did, yeah, and it happened right under the bridge. I don't know the exact bridge. It's 787,
yep,
right?
787. Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about about Alive at 5 is that even though if it's gonna rain, there's a rain location. You're not gonna have to worry about getting soaked outside. And let's just say this again: it's free. You can come from anywhere, go to this event, enjoy it. I know, like, especially in the jam band community, like a band like Lettuce that played last year. It was like, I knew a bunch of people from out of town who came, and I was like, wow. And not only does it has a trickle down effect too, because then the bars, restaurants in Albany are all getting some type of benefit from having this overflow of people in Albany. It's keeping people here in Albany after 5 p.m. when they get out of work, and it's just, you could bring your family, you can bring your friends, you could have a beer, sit down on the lawn. There's literally so much, and it's just, thank you guys for doing something like that. Now, what has been some of the acts that you guys have gotten that you're like, wow, I didn't think we were going to be able to pull this off?
Yeah, man, I mean, even just saying like a Slick Rick, like I'm growing up from the Bronx, and you're talking about Slick Rick, who is, I believe, is from the Bronx, and he's a legend. You talk about people, you ask people about that Mount Rushmore of hip hop, and you throw down a lot of people might say Slick Rick, or if you're from the '80s. We had Travis McCoy, who was from Gym Class Heroes, which is a massive band. I mean, he's the guy that's his song is Billionaire with Bruno Mars. He's the one who, matter of fact, might have helped Bruno Mars, become as big as he is because of that song. That was one of my favorites. Lettuce, like you said, the jam community is amazing, and like one of the things I love about Albany, what brought me back here is, I've done shows in New York City, but there's something different about here, the community. The festival atmosphere that we always have here. We have like you said, you mentioned Lark Festival before, and all these events that go on, Pearlapalooza. They're amazing because that's just part of what Albany is. People know when they go to Albany, you're gonna either go to a festival or something like that. You're gonna have something to do, and it's most likely gonna be free. And it's supposed to be community driven, and everyone's happy, everyone's excited, and it's such a loving community, and that's what kind of the jam community represents. So, Lettuce was like amazing to watch. Obviously, I didn't get to see most of it, but even just to book them and say, hey, we booked them was an amazing feat. They won the Grammy the following year. I forget what the Grammy was, but it was to win a Grammy right after you booked them was a pretty cool feat. You know what I mean? And we were pretty excited about that.
Now, you guys do a lot to just get the community involved and provide free entertainment for the community. And I mean, with the doors being shut on every venue and just public gatherings, outside of the Palace sessions, what has been some of the things that the Office of Cultural Affairs has done to push, just not push, but help the live arts entertainment industry?
Yeah. So that was another thing. As soon as we got word that we couldn't do a Tool Festival, it's like, first of all, it obviously hurt us all, because we love it just as much as everyone else does. But we realized we're going to have a summer without anything going on here. That's, it's sad. So let's think of something to do. So immediately we put out a Capital Coverage Challenge, which was something to get the local artists involved. All it was simply, you're sitting at home, you're quarantining, send us a cover, we'll promote it, we'll post it out there. And all the radio stations got involved, and they're like, we want to be a part of this, let's promote it. And it became a thing where we had over hundreds of submissions of amazing artists. And the best part about that is I got to see artists that I never thought I'd ever see, that I didn't even know were from the community, that now they're on our radar for the future. If, we do shows next year, we have openers now, even more than, everyone knows of the local ones like a Wild Adriatic, Girl Blue, everyone knows them, but a lot of them don't know about like a Sam Hatfield, who did one of my favorite covers, Abuse Me by Bill Withers, and I think that's the name of the song. And
Use Me. Yeah.
And then we wound up booking him for our virtual jazz festival this year because he has a
really?
jazz band on the side. So we're like, wow, and he's young, he's not too old. He might be in college now, and it's like, I didn't know he was playing music, and now he's right on our radar in our back pocket. Like, we can book him. We want to help him because he has such a talent. I mean, it's on our YouTube. You can see it on our YouTube page, but like the video production he put into it, the time and effort he did was awesome, and it just motivated us to do more. So we did the Capitol covers that went really well. Then we started doing the Live at 5. So it wasn't a Live at 5, but it's a Live at 5 live stream that we did from our Albany Events Facebook page. And all it was a live stream of artists from all over the place, some local, some not, playing like if it was Live at 5. It's only one artist, but it was an hour in people's day, an hour and a half that they got to sit at home and watch music. And we just had our last one last Thursday. So we went all the way from the beginning of quarantine till now. Wow. I think we missed one show, and that was because of a big storm that happened a couple weeks ago, where basically there was no power in Albany.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my God.
And we just had artists from everywhere. I mean, we had Thomas Ian Nicholas, who's from American Pie, the movies. He's an artist. He's playing from California. And then he played again. He was in Dominican Republic streaming from there, So we've had a lot of different artists perform, and it was like sitting in a couch with them. That's the cool part about it. It's like you're not on a stage with a huge crowd. You're sitting there looking at a screen. You can text them, you can message them in the chat, and they actually respond. And that's something I love. Obviously, there's not too many positives about the quarantine, but the one thing was like what it did to music. So many artists did it where they sat on their computer and it felt like you were together. You can say, "Oh, I love this cover," or whatever, or "I saw you at this show," and they may even respond to you, and you just feel like you're there with them. And that was something that I thought was huge. So we did that for the community, and we got great responses. I mean, we did one with Mariah Formica, who was
American Idol, right?
Yeah, it was American Idol, The Voice. I think it was The Voice.
Oh, The Voice.
Yeah, it's the same to me, but pretty awesome,
Yeah.
And that had 20,000 views. Like, that's amazing. I mean, it's like 20,000 people tuned in to watch this and watch her and give her more exposure. And we always have people tuning in from all over the world somehow watching our live stream from Albany. So that was cool. We did some drives like Albany Cares Drive. We had people donate products for people who were struggling. Maybe they didn't have enough money, or they're unemployed and they need toothbrushes or toothpaste. So we did that. We just finished our Halloween event. So I don't know if you saw, it was Halloween 2020 or
So fill us in with that. What exactly did you guys do for that? Man,
it was a big project, but we just completed it. It went off extremely well. It was the Office of Culture Affairs, the Rec Department, and the Department of General Services, along with the Mayor's Office. We put together an 11-spot Halloween drive-up and walk-up event. So 11 different parks in Albany were loaded with pumpkins. Thanks to Stanton Fiora Farms, I should shout them out because they donated 1,000 pumpkins to us to give out to the kids. We had 3,000 bags of candy throughout every location, and we had two options. If you couldn't drive, you can walk up. We do it safely within 6 feet apart. Come get your candy, a pumpkin, and then the kids, take some pictures and go home safely. Like, just very quick. We don't want them to hang out. Unfortunately, we can't have mass gatherings. And then at the same location, you have a drive up. So you don't feel comfortable taking your kid out to walk around, which I get. We had a lot of drive-ins, and they just came up. The kids were excited. They're yelling from the back seat of the car, "Happy Halloween!" And all the staff was dressed up, and it was a great experience. Huge success because every location sold out. Not sold out, but we gave away all of our pumpkins and all of our candy, and to see the kids excited was something that was needed, because with everything that's been going on for the past few months, and then not having a Halloween right into the holidays where God knows what's going to happen now, we needed something for them. And thank God we did that, because kids were so happy. The amount of kids that I saw happy and dressed up was worth it for all the work that we did. So that's kind of what it was. It was pretty awesome.
That is so incredible that is something, you guys do have the ability to do, and, have the structure to present a safe place to do it. And I mean, you were just before we started the podcast, you're telling me Halloween's your favorite holiday. And to be honest, it would suck if it was like, I mean, I couldn't imagine being a kid in today's age and having the limitations that are existing right now, especially after maybe you have gone trick-or-treating once or twice and I can't go trick-or-treating this year. What did I do wrong? And it's just a matter of the circumstance. And it's just, those little things really mean a lot to the community. Yeah. So you guys are doing some amazing things. And what did you dress up for?
So the one thing which is funny is I wanted to be Borat, but I realized, oh wait, I got a mask and that wouldn't work. So I scratched that, and I kind of just threw on just like a jester hat and like a clownish costume, but without the face makeup, because we, as a staff member, we had to be visible, because we were leading those sites and we had to be visible if something happened. So I didn't get as much. I go in, like, if it was normally, I would have been full on costumed up. So I did a little half and half. And mainly I was just happy that most of the other volunteers, because we had tons of volunteers from each location in the community, they were the ones going in, and that was good because they could do that. And then we had raptors. We had a huge inflatable raptor walking around, things like that. So I would, that was what I did costume-wise, but next year I'll do something even better. But just to see everyone, like you said, the community, I mean, having the groups of the organizations like DGS, Department of General Services, and REC, and us joining together within a 2 to 3 week period and making it happen was amazing to see. And that's kind of what the community feel that we were talking about before, is like what Albany's all about. And I'm glad that we came together to do that. And the plan, I hope, is to do this next year without all these restrictions in an even bigger format. So we'll see.
Well, that's the cool thing. It's like the people are adapting to the new age, and it's maybe going to make things. We're going to look at things definitely differently, but it's going to just kind of change just the way things are handled, or maybe this drive-in concert was cool, or the drive-through Halloween delivery system is a lot of fun just to get people in one of the public parks.
Yeah.
These things are good things that are not just going to be placeholders for what was. We've even found different ways to adapt with what we're doing at Mirth Films, and if you consistently try to think about what was, you're just going to get defeated. And if you just you got to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, try some new things, and the city of Albany's doing it, and that's amazing. I do want to take this time to just give a shout out to the Office of Cultural Affairs. You can always listen to From the Office or Kind of Live, Kind of Living podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. Watch it live on YouTube and Facebook premieres too. Please go and subscribe to Albany Events because they do have a lot of great content. And if you don't mind, please help support the podcast and help keep the show running so we can even have more guests and I don't know, maybe do some giveaways or something, make it a benefit for you guys. But that is something, jumping back to a Live at 5 live stream, the thing I really liked about that was that you were able to get not just big acts, but you were getting the small acts that maybe wouldn't be able to play the stage of a Live at 5. And I know, just after talking to Ryan Murray, he was just saying to me, even some of the people involved with doing these streams, for the people who maybe were a little more technically capable of more than just using their phone, people were going all out for these things.
Oh, yeah.
What was the one jazz band that did something? They had like 6 cameras or something like that.
Yeah, that was Sam Hatfield with that.
That was Sam Hatfield.
Yeah,
okay.
he did that. I mean, that Jazz Week was impressive because we had somebody that won Grammy in Florida, and his video was amazing. But then you had people in Albany, a local artist, like we just said, that nobody probably would have. They might not have been on Jazz Fest yet or whatever, and we got to feature them, and the production was amazing. Speaking of the live streams, Cersei, I said that right, but they did. I don't know if you know, they do these live streams on Fridays that are unbelievable. Like they'll do a whole trailer, like a movie trailer, promoting their things, or even acting as characters and talking within their live stream. So they did that at our live stream. Fully produced, multiple cameras moving around, just them two, drummer and keyboardist, singing, and in the middle they just stop and they go into this movie trailer of like, I feel like it was Star Trek, I forget which one it was, and they were just the characters, and like something like that was just something you're not going to see at Live at 5, obviously, and you're only going to see it if you follow them on their live stream. So for us to be able to bring that to other people, I'm sure just by the performance they did, that multiple people went on Friday just to see what they're about. And something like that is worth it. That's like you said, the creativity that comes out of this, seeing everyone adapt is pretty amazing. There are some positives that came out of all this.
Absolutely. And just kind of getting into from where you began, what got you into the media field? Is this something that you always wanted to do? I know you said you went to school for it. Yeah. Now, it's just it's a very vast field now with all the different technologies, platforms, everything that you could do. But getting down to the nitty gritty of what before the big social media blow up in, early 2010, like what were you thinking you would want to do, and where, what were you thinking that you wanted to do, and what have you been doing that you didn't think you would ever be doing?
That's fair. So at first, when going into college, I wanted to be like a sports agent. I always loved sports, and I'm like, being a sports agent would be cool because you want to be a part of, like I said, like when I was younger, always wanted to be a part of a big thing, whether it's an event, like a sponsor, or a sports event, or a music event. And something just kept drawing me to it. And then after going to college and doing, the stuff in SUNY Albany, I was like, I have to do this. So I kind of adapted from like sports agent because that's a very small field. But music is everywhere. You can go to any state in the world and there's going to be companies or venues, someone doing music, or not just a music event. It could be any kind of event, just a special event. And in my mind, I'm always somebody that's always thinking of multiple outcomes, multiple things that unfortunately can go wrong, but also that can go right. And like that's something in my field as a logistics coordinator or a special events coordinator that you need to think about, because my job is to make sure everything is safe, everything goes along well, but I have to think about what is very likely to happen, or even the unlikely thing to happen. I need to think, what am I going to do? What are we going to do in that case? So to me, that was always something I was good at. I was always good at looking at something and being like, all right, this could go wrong, that can go right. Let me watch out for that. This would help this situation. And from there, I was like, whoa, this could fit into music. Like, then I started learning, like in college, like, there's people that actually sit there and they plan a route for artists to come in. They plan a schedule for, the whole staff, things like that. And I'm like, this makes sense. I can do this stuff. And then I started doing it on my own. And like the best thing I could have done was do that first, because you learn what doesn't work a lot and when you're running your own company, but also what works well. So I did that for like 7-8 years in the city and in the Bronx, and it was great. It was a great experience. Like, I learned tons of contacts. And I got kind of lucky. I was, after leaving the SUNY Albany, I came and I was like, I need to do something. So I threw a huge birthday party in my 20s. I forget how old I was, in New York City on 11th Street. And it was at this bar. Like, I knew it was a music bar. It was owned by P. Wentz from Fall Out Boy, and a lot of like gym class heroes. And all those own that bar. Train, it was owned by a record label. And I'm like, let me just do it here. They'll probably let me bring some artists that I knew, and we'll just have fun. They didn't really do music shows there, so I brought down a few artist friends of mine, and we just had a huge blow-up birthday party, open bar, and they were like, this is awesome. Would you want to do this again? And I was like, yes. Like, that's what, in the back of my head, I always knew I wanted to do that, and I was hoping that maybe they'd want me to do that. And like, that was right when I left corrections. I'm like, yep, this is it. I'm going to go do this. And from there, it took off, and it actually turned into something really cool. It was Acoustic Mondays and a few other things that opened up from there, but it was like an emo-based thing. My thing is emo music. I love, like, emo, Fall Out Boy, things like that. My Chemical Romance, those bands. Like, when I grew up, that's what I listened to. So I started bringing those bands in, like a Panic at a Disco, to play acoustically, because it was a small bar, but emo and acoustic kind of worked together. And from there, and since the whole P. Wentz owning that bar was they're like, oh, I'd go to Pete's bar and play. So it like worked out perfectly, and it kind of exploded from there. And then I started doing shows from other parts of the New York City, whether it was Barry Electric or Webster Hall, and then the contacts I got from there were awesome. So I grew that into something that I could do on my own, and eventually moved up here with the idea of maybe doing that. But then this job kind of popped up, and I was like, yeah, I think I'd rather just work for the city, and it was a great opportunity.
And that's awesome. And what's it been like now being back up here after school, after corrections, after having that big birthday blowout where some of your favorite just what would you call it, mid 2000s punk, or
100%.
So would you what was it like jumping back up here and getting to work with people like Ryan Mirth?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was awesome because like I said, the community feels a lot different than the city. It's kind of like, what have you done for me lately in the city? It's like, all right, you had a good show last week, but what do you got coming up next week? And you'll have that thing which I hate, is when people come for one band and leave. That's the New York City thing. I don't know. It happens at a lot of venues, but like, it's like, I got to go somewhere else. So I'm going to go see this opening band, or I'm going to see this headlining band, but I'm not going to go see any other band. Here, you come to a Tula Festival Live at 5. You're coming here to have a drink. You're coming here to hang out. You're coming here to see the music. Maybe you're not 100% tuned in, but you're there. And that's half the battle, getting people there. So being able to do that and be like, people actually appreciate it more, because like, you're doing all this work to put an opening band, to put a band in the middle for a reason. You're building something that you hope that they'd appreciate. And half the time they're going to miss that, because there's some bands that we did that to, and now they're major bands. Like a band like American Authors, I don't know if you've heard of them. They're the ones that sing The Best Day of My Life. Is that song that everyone heard for the past like 5 years.
Of course.
They were one of the bands that like I saw from the when they were just breaking out of Boston, and we just had them come down from Boston. They would drive down from Boston to play shows at Angels and Kings multiple times. Then they eventually moved down here, and we did tons of shows. Let's say 50 or more shows together, and we just kept promoting them, because I was like, these guys are amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. They would open some shows for like a Panic at a Disco, whatever. But no, some people would see it, and then the people that saw them, I realized they're special because people gravitate to them, and they built this own following within the city. And then to see that and be like, you could have missed out on that opportunity to see them in a bar of 50 people, and now you got to pay this. They're playing Red Rocks, and they're playing venues like that. So there's tons of artists like that, like Lovely the band. That song Broken that came out 2 years ago. He was the one that played and hung out there all the time. And if you just hung out at that bar, came to the show, you would have seen him play all the time. Now they're a massive band that was like the #1 song last year, and you missed out the opportunity. So to go back to what you were saying, I mean, it was cool for the community feel to be like, everyone's going to see that, so they may not miss that opportunity here.
Right.
And working with people like Ryan at City of Albany Culture Affairs office, it's great because coming from there and then coming here, Ryan was the guy that's been there for 4 years, and he's seen a lot there. So he's able to tell us like, this might not work, or this is gonna work, or this is not. You would think that this could work, but chances are you're not. So like, it's good to have a second head there to be like, hey, I've seen this all. Maybe it's just a heads up, and we'll still do it anyway. But it's still, just be aware of this. Like we've booked this band years ago and it didn't really work well, or we booked this band years ago and it was amazing. So that's huge, especially coming back to Albany after missing a few years. I can't say I know everything. I don't. So to have him there to help is awesome. It's a big help. So that's pretty great.
So and you brought up the whole point of people staying for maybe a couple songs of the headliner, skipping the opener, or not even going to the headliner at all, or already hearing their favorite song. Oh, I'm not missing anything, so I guess I could leave. But like, from what I've been told here in Albany, it seems like everybody stays right until the end of the second set if they're playing 2 sets. That's
what it seems like.
That's incredible, and I mean, there is nothing easy about running anything behind the scenes when it comes to live music because of how much planning that goes into this. And it's just like, you are sometimes at some of these free public events in Albany getting some acts that you may never see them at this size. And it's really important to just take advantage of it, just because who knows. Maybe one day it's like, oh, I can say I met this guy, he played to 2 people, and now he's playing across the seas.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I personally got to see it with Twiddle. Like when I was really young, 18. When I was 18, 19, I was seeing my first Twiddle shows up in just upstate New York, Lake George area, playing to like 20 people. One of my friends got me really involved with seeing them. I would go and see them all the time, and like, probably saw half of the shows I've ever seen of them, which is probably, I would say I've probably seen Twiddle like 50 times.
I'm jealous.
Maybe not 50, but like,
that's awesome.
Like somewhere between like 30 and 45. Like I've seen them a bunch now, and it's like, it makes me appreciate seeing them way back then. These bands need the support when they're first starting off too, because they're a growing band. They're trying to gain fans as they go from market to market. And but just the day they ended up playing Capitol Theater in Portchester, it was a huge thing. Or them playing Red Rocks for the first time, it was a huge thing. It's an accomplishment milestone in this band's career. So it's like watching the journey unfold, like you've seen with Dear Author.
American Author.
American Author. Like seeing a group like American Author, explode, that's something, I don't know, it's like you're almost proud of them.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what it's all about. I mean, you watch that and you're like, wow. And the thing is, let's say you had some kind of interaction with them years ago. I guarantee you they remember that. They remember those more than they remember the one person who says something to them in a 50,000 person arena. It's like that quick, even if it's a little conversation, or they see your face and you're one of the 2 people in that crowd. I guarantee you, just by speaking to some of our friends, they remember that. If I were to go to a show, I went a couple years ago to see them at like a smaller event, and they went running and gave me a huge help. Obviously, like I had more interaction with them, but still, like they will probably not forget that, because I know when I've DJ'd before and I've played in front of 3 people, I'm like, yep, I still could remember those people because they're the only 3 people that were dancing there, but I still like, that was my interaction for that day. That was me and them, and that's all that mattered, and whether I'm playing the songs just for them.
Yeah. And
I can still remember those. Like there was times where it was like a blowout and I don't remember much. We all having a good time. It's a blur, but like that few, like whether it's like a lot of times, and I haven't DJed in a while, but I used to DJ a lot, and like a bachelorette party or a bachelor party would come in, and I remember them because there's like probably nobody else there, but it's like those 5-6 people, but they're having the best time of their life, and you're helping them have the best time of their life. So that band that you sat in front of playing Twiddle, 20 people, they remember because that you gave them life, they gave you life, and it's something that they'll remember more than that 50-person show. So that's huge, and that's why I love music. That's why music's amazing. That's my life. I love
It
everything
is,
about
and it's
music.
something you get hooked on. It's
Yeah.
like you want to know more about the band. You look into their biographical parts of who they are, and
Mhm.
you know, deep diving into the catalog, which is now so accessible because of things like Spotify.
Yeah.
It's just it's easy to nerd out about it, and there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with it. It's, if anything, it's, you know, it's helping them at the end,
Mhm.
which is the most important thing. Jumping in back into Albany here, being a resident of Albany now, what are just some of your favorite places to go around here?
So I mean, Washington Park. We're lucky. I mean, I live next to Washington Park. It's pretty amazing to just pull out there and walk up and just walk around because it's such a peaceful park. It reminds me so much of Central Park in New York City. Um, I love going to restaurants like the Hollow and Amacachina. Two of my favorite places to go in general.
What is that second one you just said?
Amacachina.
What is it?
So it's a Mexican style restaurant bar right by the Hollow. So if you look at the Hollow and you turn that corner, right across from the Hotel Hampton Inn, it's an amazing spot.
Really?
You should go there. Or you should take out food from there because their drinks are amazing, but their food is just as good. Everything's fresh, and like the things that they come up with are pretty awesome. Like the mixes, you know, you can get some cactus. There's some amazing things in there, and the people there are awesome too. They sponsored some of our after parties last year. So both the Hollow and Machina actually were like very supportive of our Live at Fives. And like you said, like keeping the community open, that was the key. So after our Live at Five from 5 to 8, we had more music at these venues. So we had Hartley's Encore playing at the Hollow after the Letta show. And it's like all those funk fans, jam band fans, boom, went right there. And we had just another great time, and we gave business to a local venue. Same thing with Amacachino, you know, it's things like that. So I like doing that. I love supporting local restaurants. It's sad now what's going on now, so you got to help them more than ever. I still do take out a lot. Besides that, I love, what else I do? I mean, it's not Albany, but what's the cavern? House Cavern is one of my favorite things to do when people come up here.
Yeah.
It's not Albany, but it's outside of here. I mean,
General area?
yeah,
Of course.
what I love most about Albany coming from the city is the nature part of it. You know, the trees, going out to hiking, going out to, you know, just walking around and getting some fresh air for once is pretty amazing, and it's peaceful, and it's like a good mix of city and not country, but it's like it falls in between where it's just like peaceful, you know what I mean? And that's the best part about Albany, I think. I mean, other than that, I mean, you know, regular things people do. Bar hopping, city beer halls, also great. Bombers, I used to DJ there and eat there a lot. Things like that. So that's kind of what I love doing. And then during the summer, all the festivals, was Perlapalooza to Live at 5. Even before I worked there, you know, I would tune in on some Live at 5s. I mean, I've driven up before from the city to see one or two of them.
Really?
I've had family do it, friends. So far, at least 4 of our Live at 5s last year, somebody drove up. And not just them, you know, I know of people that came just for the bands that I didn't even know. We had people that drive from Vermont. So like you said, that the free aspect, like these amazing artists that you probably have to pay $30 to $60 to see are playing for free. So I would drive 2.5 hours, 3 hours to go see something like that. You know? So yeah, that's probably my favorite thing is you know, going to concerts and stuff up here and eating a lot of food.
Well, like you said, there's a lot of great restaurants here in downtown Albany. I mean, I can name like 4 off the top of my head that I probably go to once a week each time. Here near Lark Street.
What's your favorite?
You know what my favorite is? I was a huge rain guy.
Okay.
I got sick of it. Their food's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
saying that. I've ate it a lot.
That's
and,
fair.
But definitely K-Plate.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet. I heard it's good.
I never liked. I can't say I never liked it because I never tried it. But I never had Korean barbecue like that before, and it is so delicious. And my girlfriend just opened up my taste buds just a little bit,
Nice.
and I was able to get in there. But Tampopo, ramen place right down on Broadway in Albany. Love that. El Loco, of course. Bombers, of course. What else have we had? El Mariachi still yet to go to. I heard it's.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Try that El Mariachi without a
really.
doubt. Llama Empanada is really good.
You know, JB Dirty Moses told me about
that
place. He said it was really good.
It's so many different options there, so I would try that. I mean, I like. Is it Indian food right on Lark Street? Was it Taste of India? I believe it is. Right there is really good as well. That's a lot around here that we can, besides eating McDonald's and stuff like that. I'm trying to stay away from that and eat more local. And we got some good spots up here,
Definitely. And even if your taste buds aren't that wide, there is NoHo and Soho Pizza right here on Lark Street. There's a lot of good pizza shops around here, but I'm sure, like you being from the city, I mean, how much pizza can you actually have? I mean, pizza's delicious. I could eat it every day, but at the same time, there is diversity here in Albany. I just want to take this time to tell everybody to go out and use your privileges that you have as a citizen and go and vote. It's super important to express what you want to express because you get a say because we're in America. It's just cool. I got to say, I'm happy that New York State adapted the whole early voting system because, not everybody can get out between 9 and 5 when you're stuck working. And maybe you get that hour or 2 hour block of time where you're legally allowed to go vote. But what if you don't have transportation? What if you don't have a polling center close to where you are? Go out and vote.
Yeah, please do it. It's huge, and there's so many more people voting nowadays because of this mail-in voting, and it's probably going to be the norm going forward. And it's good. It's good to see people come out and vote. So let's keep it going. Vote without a doubt.
Absolutely.
We have to. Like you said, it's our country. Let's have a say. Whatever way it is, just have a say. Use your voice. Use your vote. It's important. Very important nowadays.
Absolutely. Is there anything you wanted to plug with Albany County that you've been up to?
So I guess look out for what we're going to be doing. I guess I could announce a little teaser, but we're going to be doing something with the tree lighting.
Cool.
We do that every year, but obviously we can't do that in person now. So we're going to do something virtually. We have a virtual Last One 5K, which is a huge race that we do every year with over, we have 2,000 plus runners usually. But we can't really do it the way we can. Usually it's through the lights in the park, in Washington Park, and all the runners run through there, and then they come out and they all get dressed up in holiday gear. We can't do that, so now it's a virtual race where you can take your time throughout the month. You want to get a hat and hat and a shirt, you can pay for it. You track your time, you send it to us, and the winner gets the fastest scores of certain age groups gets a medal, kind of like how we would do it normally. But it's basically on your own pace. So you pick the route you want, whether you want to walk downtown or you can walk, you can run, it doesn't matter. But it's more of just to kind of get people out to see the local area. There's going to be a lot of decorations up for the holidays. If you want to go through the park, you can try, but I don't know, maybe not. Let's not go through the park because it's not safe.
Don't do it.
Don't do that. Never mind. Find another route. Just run around at a track at a park. Lincoln Park has a huge track. Run around. It's 3.5 miles. And that's what we got going on then. And then we are going to do this Capital. It's like Capital Covers, but it's going to be a holiday cover challenge. So,
awesome.
Yeah, if artists wants to do all religions, all holidays we're celebrating, we want to support them all. And that'll be featured. Some of them will be featured at the tree lighting. So get your covers in, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, anything. Just get it out there to us. Something that reminds you of the holidays. It could be a song. It doesn't have to be about Christmas. It could just be a song that makes you feel warm and holiday-ish, and just send it in to us, and we'll get that information out soon. It's going to be announced, I believe, this week, so look out for that. Other than that, we'll see them next year at some events, hopefully, and I'm sure we'll be bringing back the live streams soon. We're just going to take a break for a month.
Yeah, that's got to be, it's work. Get it, and there's, so to some people, clicking buttons behind a computer, doing marketing is not maybe the most extraneous job, but I'll tell you, scheduling, doing behind the scenes, even all the stuff we have to do to even prepare to be where we're doing for Mirth Films, it takes a lot out of you. But we definitely love everything that you guys are doing, and it's just so much fun just seeing people having fun on those Alive at 5 style streams. Please go subscribe, follow, like all of Albany events pages to stay up to date on what they're doing, because these events could be happening right under your nose and you wouldn't even know it. And even the Halloween event, I saw and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I wish I wish I knew about it sooner, because maybe I would have drove through, and because I like candy too. And this is just from the office. Thank you, Keith, so much for coming on today, and we definitely got to be hanging out more often because we live so close to each other, and we'll be featuring guests No, I wouldn't say it's going to be a regular schedule and one we'll be doing from the office. As all of you know, you can see the Kind of Live, Kind of Living podcast every other week right here on the Mirth Films platform. But this is just giving, from the office gives other people a chance to talk on camera about what awesome things they're doing in their lives, like Keith right here. And as always, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and watch it live on YouTube. Seriously, just by hitting the subscribe button helps so much. It's we love doing this, and we just do it because we love it. But we also want to know what we can provide to you guys. So that would just be a huge help. And thank you all for tuning in again. This has been episode 2 of From the Office, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Frankie. You're the man. Support. Support this guy. This guy is a monster. All by himself. He's great.
Thank you so much,
kill
man.
It, man.
And
you kill it. I just gotta say, please support him. I don't know if we're still live, but so you deserve it. You're amazing at what you do. So
thank you, man.
Yeah.
I do it because I just love being out and around people.
Yeah,
I just it's if there weren't people involved, I would have no purpose.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many great artists that I've been able to work with throughout the years, and honestly, it's just being involved with something behind the scenes and trying to help a greater cause is why I do it. So, but thank you guys. Go vote, please. Make some changes.